Hey friends, welcome back to the Guitar Max channel, and in this video I want to bring you the latest in the ongoing saga between Dean Guitars and Gibson. So as we all thought they would, Dean Guitars has now officially filed an appeal in their trademark infringement case between them and Gibson. This is the case that they lost earlier this year. So they are appealing the outcome of this court case, and what does this all mean exactly? How does this fit into the big picture? And what's really important is, does this mean that Dean Guitars can now resume selling and producing their V and Z guitars, which were two of the main guitars which were found to have infringed on Gibson's trademarks? I'm going to tell you how all this stuff works. We'll go over all the details. But real quick, guys, if you like videos like this, checking out cool new guitars, and also staying up on all the latest news in the guitar universe, and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, so let's go over some quick backstory here, because I've done a lot of Dean Guitars related videos in the past year or so, some of them having to do with the former CEO, Evan Rubinson, and then some of them having to do with this court case between Dean Guitars and Gibson Guitars. What this is about is basically Gibson Guitars, after decades of seemingly not caring at all, sued Dean Guitars, saying that many of their models, like their classic V model and also the Z, which is like an Explorer shape type model, basically saying that those infringed on the trademarks, which is basically for the body shape of some of Gibson's models. And there were also some things like the Hummingbird name and a couple other guitars that were not quite as popular. And this went back and forth in the courts for quite some time. And then earlier this year it was found, the court decided that yes, Dean Guitars did infringe on Gibson's rights. They awarded Gibson a very, very low amount of monetary damages, only $4,000 when Gibson was seeking like millions. But one of the big things is that because it was found that Dean had infringed on Gibson's rights, Dean Guitars had to stop producing and also advertising and selling, all that stuff, had to stop the models, the particular models which were found to have infringed on Gibson's rights. And the two big ones in particular, like I said, are the V and the Z models. So when this all came down, the then CEO of Dean Guitars, Evan Rubinson, at the time he said that they intended to appeal, and even though he's no longer in the company, now they have gone ahead and officially filed an appeal. And so that's the sort of extra part that we're going to go over today, and basically what this all means. So as usual, I've got a great article here that's going to go into the details of this. This is from guitar.com, and I'm going to have a link down in the video description below if you want to check out the original article. But let's go ahead and look at this and read through this here. So on guitar.com, here's the headline: Dean appeals against landmark Gibson trademark ruling. Dean parent company Armadillo has officially appealed the final judgment, as well as numerous other court orders of its trademark battle with Gibson. In a new filing, Armadillo gives notice that, quote, all appearing defendants, counterclaim plaintiffs, that is, Armadillo and Concordia Investment Partners, hereby appeal to the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit the final judgment, and each and every prior order of the district court herein. Now that's going to make a little bit more sense in a second here. Let's just read a little bit further. Armadillo had previously stated its intention to fight Gibson's victory, something that now has been made official. It goes on here. The final judgment, one of the many orders Armadillo is appealing, ruled that the company is, quote, permanently enjoined from the manufacture, advertisement, and or sale of the guitars found to infringe on Gibson's trademarks, including the Dean V and Dean Z models. While the jury verdict initially found that the damages from Armadillo's infringement only amounted to $4,000, the final judgment ultimately ruled that Gibson's legal costs fall on Armadillo. The total amount of legal costs Armadillo owed to Gibson at the time of the final judgment was over $330,000. This makes the appeal a potentially risky move. By extending the case, Armadillo could increase the legal costs it owes Gibson, and appeals can be very expensive, right? So It could increase the legal costs it owes to Gibson. On the other hand, it could overturn this part of the ruling or indeed the entire judgment, right? So it's sort of a double or nothing kind of attitude that Dean is taking here. They're hoping that they're going to appeal this, and they're basically the court, a higher court, a different court is going to overturn the entire thing. And then not only will Dean be able to continue to sell the guitars, they will have found that they didn't infringe on the rights, but also Dean won't owe Gibson all of those court fees and everything. But if they get it wrong, right, if they do the appeal and no, they're found, hey, they're still guilty, right, it's basically the same outcome, then Dean will be in an even worse position, because not only will they still not gain back the ability to sell those models or anything like that, but they're going to owe Gibson even more money. So the article finishes up here, and so the potential future of this case is now even more labyrinthine than before. As well as appealing the result, Dean is also facing an accusation of contempt of court, and I talked about this in a previous video, from Gibson for failing to take down listings for its V and Z guitars. Former CEO Evan Rubinson's seemingly incorrect statement to Guitar.com that, quote, the jury found no trademark liability, end quote, on the Dean V and Z guitars also formed part of Gibson's argument for contempt of court. The filing is only a notice of appeal. The details of how Armadillo intends to argue against the judgment have not been made known just yet. Okay, now I want to go back to something in the article for just a second here, because there's a question that I keep getting over and over in the comments section on these Dean Guitars videos when we're talking about this lawsuit. And the question is, does this mean that stores or distributors like Guitar Center or whoever, can they still sell the stock on hand that they have? So, if they ordered 50 Dean V guitars and they're there in the store, can they still sell these? Or do they have to stop selling them because of this ruling? So the answer is a distributor or a retail store, something like that. Yes, absolutely. They can continue to sell the stock that they have on hand. It all comes down to Dean and Armadillo, what they can or can't do. And it kind of says in here, it says permanently enjoined, blocked, from the manufacture, advertisement, and or sale. So the big thing here is that Dean Guitars cannot manufacture any new guitars of these models. They can't advertise them. And that was the deal with, when they still had the listings on their website. That was considered advertising. So Dean Guitars was very slow in taking those listings down. It was like a couple weeks went by after the ruling had come through that they had to stop advertising. And it's like, it doesn't really take that long to update a website. So they can't manufacture, can't advertise, and they cannot sell the guitars. So Dean Guitars might have some more of these guitars, but if they are not already sent to a distributor or a retailer or something like that, they cannot sell the guitars. I suppose if, a distributor or something already paid the money, then they could still ship the guitars, because that would not necessarily be considered selling if they had already been paid for when this ruling came through. But that's basically how that works. So if there is a Dean V or Z guitar or something at your local store, you can absolutely still go and buy it and they can still sell it to you. But at least with things as they are now, they're not going to be getting any more of those guitars. Now there's another important point here that several people have brought up in the comment section, and that is about the Michael Schenker signature Dean guitar. Now, Michael Schenker was one of the last of the holdouts of the old group of Dean Guitars endorsers. Most people left over the past 5 or so years, maybe 5 to 7 years, basically when Elliot Rubinson, when he passed away, he was the guy who was kind of maintaining all of those endorser relationships. And when he passed away and then the company was no longer being run by him personally, then a lot of the endorsers, left. I mean, they had different, some of them had different complaints and so forth, but most of them left. One of the few that didn't leave was Michael Schenker. And to be totally honest, I think he may have just forgotten that he had the endorsement, because he never was that involved with the company. But he had a V, a Dean V that's like, split down the middle, that classic Michael Schenker look where it's black on one side and white on the other. But they still had his signature guitar. But now, because of this ruling, that essentially eliminates his signature guitar in that current form. I suppose if they worked it out with him, they could produce a different kind of V guitar that was not the exact same body shape and body style as it was before. It was different enough to where it was not included in this infringement case here. But as it's been right now, that V guitar was like exactly the same shape, and so, like I said, the Dean signature guitar for Michael Schenker is no more, unless this case gets overturned through the appeal process, which is possible. Now, honestly, what do you guys think is going to happen? Do you think they will win this appeal? Do you think Dean Guitars will win this appeal? Do you think it will be overturned? Myself, I really don't know. I could see it going either way. One thing that gives a little bit of a chance or opportunity to Dean Guitars is that many years ago, Fender went through some similar lawsuits where they were suing other companies for trademark infringement of the body shapes. After a while, they eventually lost those lawsuits, and that's why you can make a Strat, a Fender Strat style guitar with the exact same body shape, and it has been found to not infringe on the trademarks. And you'd think with such a big company like that, that would set a precedent, and then you'd say like, well, Gibson, it's another guitar company, how different can it be? But that has not happened yet, like we're looking at this thing, and so far Gibson has won this. So a lot of people are going to be watching this closely. I'm going to be paying very close attention, and the outcome of this is going to make a big impact on the industry long term. Okay guys, so again, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. In the video description below, I will have a link for the original article from guitar.com, and I will also have stuff down there like my latest instructional program, my social media, all that good stuff. Guys, thanks a ton for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.